everyone, Michelle Seidling here with another episode of Food Experience Unplugged. Today we'll explore how to manage chronic conditions from a nutritional perspective. Here to help us do that is chronic conditions transformation nutritionist Jacquie Nelson Walburn. This podcast is available on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Please be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to be informed as new episodes become available. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of our episodes, please rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform. As always, check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some resources as you begin your health journey.
Okay,
Jacquie Nelson Walburn, welcome to Food Experience Unplugged.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you as a chronic conditions transformation nutritionist. I am excited to hear all about what that is and what that entails. And today we're talking about chronic conditions and how things such as a keto diet or other things really help to manage those chronic conditions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But first, will you take a moment to introduce yourself and tell us what brought you to this point and in your life and career and why transformational nutrition?
Well, I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition that I got back in the 80s. And I was following what I had learned for my whole life and still struggled with my health issues. And it finally got to a breaking point where doctors just said, well, you've got like 5 years to live. And it's like, what? I've been asking you for help for 5 years, and now you're going to tell me, and you gave me nothing. Oh, you're diabetes, you're pre-diabetic, you're not there yet. When you get there, we'll give you drugs. Oh, you have kidney disease. Well, there's nothing we can do about that. It's just going to progress, and you're stuck with it, and you're going to have to go through dialysis eventually, and you're going to die young. And it's like, no. Like, okay, you can't help me. I'm going to find some way to help myself since nothing is out there. I have fired multiple doctors because of their belief systems on that. And I did actually reverse myself of 15 different conditions that range from everything from obesity to diabetes to kidney disease to fatty liver disease to arthritis to asthma, allergies, edema, eczema. I mean, it's quite a long list. And so this is what I dove into the research to find out everything that was out there that was beyond what I had learned in my degree program, my dietetics program, and found that there was huge amounts of stuff I could do to help myself. And I was really surprised to learn about food as medicine. And that if I changed my diet away from what used to be the food pyramid, that was high in carbohydrates and processed grains, that I could actually recover my health. And so I did. And so I decided that I have to share this with the world. So I went out and I got myself a gastrointestinal mastery certification for the Integrative Medicine Academy, where they actually teach doctors what to do if they're working with clients who have gastrointestinal issues, which of course all health starts in the gut and all disease starts in the gut. So it's definitely a starting point. So I have transformed health for not all of my clients, 100% success rate with every person who follows what I recommend. And they've reversed everything from their cancer markers all the way down to their blood sugar, down to their liver enzymes, their kidney diseases. Everything has gone down with food as medicine. It's just absolutely transformational, which is why I went in that direction.
That is amazing. So, what did you say? 15 different diseases you had or different illnesses?
Yes, conditions.
Conditions. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Well, it's important for people to recognize that the word disease just means dis-ease, which means that something's in trouble, and they just use it as a diagnostic tool to put a label on you. And it doesn't, you don't have to own it. You don't have to take it. You can say, well, that's nice that you think that.
Yeah.
And then try to figure out what to do to reverse those symptoms that they're putting a label on you, because it doesn't define who you are or what you can heal. So it's important that people understand that that's not the case.
Now, did all of those diagnoses come all at once? Or it was a series over time? How did that occur?
Well, it's an interesting story that I actually, I guess I have had a problem since I was a child. And that things just continued to domino effect over my lifetime and just continued to get worse and worse because I didn't know what the problem was. But I reversed out 40 years of asthma, allergies, and arthritis. I mean, living in pain for over 40 years was something. They diagnosed me with arthritis in my feet when I was 12.
Wow.
And they told me I'd never really walk again without braces and all this other stuff. And it was just going to get worse. And I should just plan to be uh, crippled by the time I got to my 20s because it was just going to progress. And of course, with everything that I did at that time, even at 12 years old, I figured out stuff I had to do. But I did 2 Olympic trials. I had a full career in athletics. And, without, even though I still had pain, I was able to manage it, so to speak, without drugs, and to continue to run 5 miles a day doing stadiums. I was one of the strongest women in the country, in the weight room and such, without drugs. And it was just, I just refused to accept it and believe it. And I just started doing things to help myself along the way, which is why I got into nutrition to begin with, was to find out what else I could do to improve my performance and improve my body. But I just found out 2 years ago that I ran a DNA. There's couple of DNA programs out there that will do DNA reports for you, not 23andMe, none of that stuff. These are individual biohacker type things that you can do out there where they'll actually give you an analysis of 12 different reports of your genetics based on your nutrition, based on your detox, based on um, your weight, and your exercise performance. They do individual reports. And I found out that I have all the genetic markers for all the problems that I had. I mean, they were all there. And it's just like, wow, I'm finding out after I already learned how to fix myself that I had genetic markers for all this stuff since I was a child. And it's just like, I suffered my whole life because I didn't know that I had all these issues. And it was just amazing to learn that and find that out. So anyway, but that brought me to where I am. As far as now, I'm trying to teach the world, anybody who wants to learn how to reverse their stuff, how to prevent stuff, what they need to do. And I specialize in a paleo keto dietary approach because of what it eliminates, which is all the inflammatory foods and all of the GMOs and the pesticide laden toxic load, liver detoxing, and all that stuff happens when you change your food.
Okay. Now, on that note, will you tell us a little bit about paleo and keto? And how does that relate to trying to heal those conditions that you have suffered and your clients as well, I'm sure.
Well, what most people don't understand at this point is from the basics is that when you start having chronic conditions, there are two things that are involved. And well, actually, three things, according to Dr. Francis, which is nutritional deficiencies, stress, and low grade infections. And so the nutritional deficiencies are obviously we need to change our diet because our diets are very high in low density foods. I mean, you drink a soda, you're not getting any nutritional value out of that. You eat bread, there's almost no nutritional value in that. They've told us that whole wheat bread or whole grain bread and all this stuff is really good for us. No, not actually. It's not. It is so pesticide laden that it is causing your liver to overload with toxins, which is a stress. The high grains gives you too much sugar, which then your liver has to try to process and turn into fat, which ends up being stress on your liver on top of that. Many people don't realize they have a gluten sensitivity, which could be causing their gut to get torn up and leaky gut, which then allows all of the pesticides and toxins to leak into your bloodstream and go everywhere in your body, including crossing the blood-brain barrier, which is going to give you brain fog, anxiety, and all sorts of things. So a lot of things are missing from all of this. But for me, it started out with detoxing. I found a holistic chiropractor who specialized in detoxing, figured I'd start there because once I learned that all of our food was completely laden with, if you're buying regular food and not organic, it's completely laden with pesticides that your body accumulates that actually gets put in your liver, has to detox, and it can only do so much so fast. So they call it the 36 hole theory. Where if you have chronic conditions, you just you start plugging holes until you find the one that fixes things. And the first hole that I went after was the detoxing with all the toxins that had been, accumulating in my life. And I immediately, within 30 days, I lost all my 40 years of allergies, asthma, arthritis, Wounds, old athletic injuries that had never really healed just disappeared. It was like, oh my God, so what else am I not doing? So that was like a bounce off point. It's like, okay, let me check into everything else. Then gluten came up next. And it ends up, I have immune markers for all forms of gluten. So eliminating gluten, I lost 20 pounds in 30 days when I gave up wheat. So that's the bread, the pastas, the muffins, the cakes, the cookies, the crackers. I mean, they're 20 pounds in 30 days just because it was so inflammatory to me. And then when I thought, well, gosh, there are other grains now that I'm eating these other things. What else could be causing problems? So I eliminated grains. I lost another 20 pounds worth of inflammation. I mean, I had no idea that my excess body weight was actually mostly inflammation. And so I just started dropping the weight. And when I gave up dairy, oh my gosh, dairy was 30 pounds in 60 days. I had no idea that, and I learned, of course, the reason I gave it up because I found the research out there that what they did is they hybridized our cows here in the United States. And what that did is it hybridized the main protein, casein, in our milk and cheese and cottage cheese and all the other milk products. And the body doesn't recognize it. And so it causes an immune response, it causes inflammation. So when I eliminated cheese, that was like my favorite food in the whole wide world. If anybody's out there listening, going, I can't do that. Yes, you can. I like the vegan cheese. It doesn't have casein in it. It actually melts and everything else and satisfies my desire for cheese. And I do almond milk and coconut milk and other things instead of milk because I only put it in my coffee anyway, or maybe in a little grain-free granola. Um, but anyway, so it's interesting. But you get down to a point where I found out for myself that I had a carbohydrate intolerance in my DNA, which meant that my body has trouble processing carbohydrates. So when I switched over to a low carb ketogenic type diet, that was another 20 pounds that just fell off me. And my pre-diabetes, diabetes just disappeared. My liver enzymes came down. I mean, all of these things I had swollen ankles, edema pretty much my whole life. And I now have ankles. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm 60 years old at this point, and at 55 years old, I've discovered I have ankles. I mean, they were always swollen my whole life, even when I was running 5 miles a day and training for the Olympics. It was still swollen ankles all that time, even though I was like 18% body fat training. I was a world ranked javelin thrower. Um, and I still had swollen ankles that whole time, and no one could tell me why. And it was like, wow. I mean, it just amazing the transformation that I went through when I just changed my diet. So, but again, the problem that most people are like, oh, I tried keto and it doesn't work. Well, let's talk about the proper way of doing keto because there's dirty keto and there's clean grain keto. That's my term. And with a clean green keto, you're eating organic and you're getting 8 cups of vegetables a day.
Mm,
That's where
okay.
you get all your nutritional deficiencies coming in and getting fixed. That's where you get your detox stuff that'll help support your liver. That's where you start flushing out all your toxins. And basically, you're going to be eating all organic stuff. So you're not going to be getting the hormones. You're not going to be getting the pesticides. The stuff they feed the cows and the pigs is all GMO'd, high pesticide, hormones, antibiotics. It's all in there. And all those things are disrupting the body's process of healing. So when you do a clean green keto, you eliminate all of these non-organic things and you switch to organic. So if you do uncured bacon, a little more expensive, of course, all of this is a little more expensive, but you know what? If you get rid of all the meds and you get rid of all the other things that you're having, the doctor's visits and everything else you're having to do, it pays for itself easily. And it can be done on a budget. You just have to know where to shop. I have loops of shopping trips that I make. But as far as when I go out shopping, I'll hit 2 or 3 stores at once and just go rotate through them to get whatever they have on sale so that I can keep my food budget down. And my food budget actually isn't much more than what it was before I made the change. So but yeah, reducing the carbs was a big part of it because my body wasn't processing the sugar and the carbs very well, which was driving up my pre-diabetes to diabetes. I actually got diagnosed eventually with diabetes before I made my change. So, but yeah, there's lots involved here. I mean, if people are having weight issues or they've been dealing with, some unexpected weight gains and stuff, it's your food. It's your body, when you finally reach a tipping point, they call it oral tolerance. When you finally get to a point where you're getting more than your body can heal from or more than your body can detox from, spills out into your bloodstream, starts causing symptoms. If arthritis is actually a food issue for most people. So it's just a question of figuring out what it is that's causing. You got to heal your gut, take care of it, give it the right things to support itself. Um, is liver detox is a big part of my programs, and it's real simple. You can just, not only do you reduce your toxic load by getting on organic foods, and those, so I know that bread is hard for some people to give up, and you don't want to do the keto breads or the grain-free breads. You want to do the paleo type breads, or the because they're at least grain-free. Because if you try to do a grain-free bread or a gluten-free bread, they're making it with rice flour, which is even higher in glycemic index to spike your blood sugar even worse than it was with regular stuff. It won't cause leaky gut or cause you issues, but if you're dealing with weight issues, if you're dealing with any kind of blood sugar issue, the gluten-free products are not the way to go. Most of them are absolute junk. I have over 1,000 recipes on my Pinterest page. If they look up Jacquie Walburn, they'll find me. That have all these recipes so that you can actually make bread, make cookies, make muffins if you really feel a need for that, to get you over the hump where you give up the sugar and the gluten and everything else. So it's all doable. You don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to feel deprived. There are plenty of things out there that you could do. I know that I have a current client who has a chocolate problem, so to speak. And I'm like, and it's affecting her blood sugar and such. And she's like, I'm so addicted to chocolate, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, you know what? There is a brand of chocolate from Lily's, Lily. Lily's makes chocolate bars and chocolate chips that are sweetened with monk fruit. So they have no glycemic index on you. They still have the cacao and cocoa has a little bit anyway, but you're not getting the sugar spikes. So you can actually have your candy bars and eat them too. So, and I have great recipes. I mean, I can make a gluten-free, grain-free, sugar-free chocolate cake in the microwave in less than a minute if I have a craving that I have to meet. If I really feel, I really want this. And I can buy So Delicious sugar-free coconut milk ice cream, put on top of it. That is also sweetened with monk fruit. And so you can still have your cake and ice cream and eat it too. So there's no deprivation, there's no missing anything, there's ways around everything. And it can all be done on a low carb, keto, clean, green keto type diet to reverse all of your conditions. And of course, a keto diet is also the main diet that is discussed in the preventing and, dare I say, reversing not only brain fog, but also Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia can all be affected by going on a ketogenic diet and using coconut oil as a primary ingredient in your diet that they have proven. Dr. Perlmutter is the name. It's called Grain Brain. It's a great book. But he has a full listing in there of all the research out there and all the stuff the clinical studies that he's done and had done to show that you can actually reverse out or stop the progression or prevent by getting off. Because, of course, Alzheimer's is called diabetes type 3, which means, of course, that Alzheimer's is being driven by blood sugar. So if anybody out there that they've looked at their labs, you need to track your labs because your doctor's not going to be up on all this. If your blood sugar is over 90, you're affecting your brain. You're affecting every organ in your body if it's over 90, if your fasting blood sugar is over 90. And if you test your blood sugar, if you're a person who checks your blood sugar regularly, your blood sugar should return back to less than 90 after 3 hours of eating, unless you are having an issue with insulin resistance and such, or other issues that could be causing that to stay high too long. The idea of eating constantly throughout the day to maintain your blood sugar, no, 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 no. Dr. Jockers is the leading expert, I believe, that I follow regularly with his stuff as far as the keto type diet, as well as managing blood sugar and diabetes and such, and their Dr. Mull. who also is a diabetes specialist that I follow regularly and keep up on all of their research. Um, that going on a clean green keto type diet where you're reducing your carbs down, so that they actually recommend that you also add in intermittent fasting, which means that you're going to be skipping meals once or twice a week. You start out by skipping breakfast to prolong your break fast because you're fasting overnight. Not eating before you go to bed, within a couple of hours before you go to bed, will allow your blood sugar to recover better by morning and put you in a fasted state where you're actually burning fat instead of sugar. Then extending your fasting over to a 24-hour period so that you're actually skipping breakfast and lunch like once a week. And then, of course, there's feast days because you don't want your leptin hormones and everything else to drop off. So after a fast, you can do a feast day so that you're putting back the glycogen into your muscles and your liver so that you do have enough stored glucose in your body, that's glycogen, so that your body can maintain its blood sugar and you don't suffer from hypoglycemia, which is if people who do it too fast, their blood sugar drops too much and they start getting dizzy, start having problems. You want to slowly fat adapt your body into burning fat instead of sugar. And fat is actually a cleaner fuel. It takes less steps. It's less toxic to your body and your mitochondria, which are the little itty bitty guys inside all your cells that make all your energy for you. They're the ones that burn sugar and fats to actually give you energy because you can't use it directly. You have to actually burn it inside your cells. But your cells actually are preferred fat. If you look at children when they're first born, infants, they're consistently only getting mother's milk, which is really high in fat and has almost no carbs in it. So they are fat adapted and they're born usually with quite a bit of fat on them. They start gaining baby fat because of all the milk they're drinking, which is, of course, to ensure their survival if mother dries up or whatever, to give them some background. But yeah, our bodies were designed to run on fat. Our ancestors were more likely to be eating fat than to be eating carbs. I mean, we've only been eating grains for about 10,000 years. That's not even enough time for our genetics to adapt. So we're still in trouble there. Plus, people don't realize how they make wheat here in the United States. I mean, they may find this interesting, and this may be what changes their belief system. What they do now with wheat, and they got permission to do this with glyphosate or Roundup back in the 90s, is that they use it as what they call a desiccant. So what they do is they can get 2 crops a year instead of 1 if they go out and they spray the wheat grain with Roundup to kill it and then harvest it. And then they put it into the grain silos and they soak it down with glyphosate Roundup and to keep it from bacterially processing, but they don't realize that Roundup is basically an antibiotic. That's what its first patent was, or the first request for a patent was as an antibiotic. And they don't understand that by putting this on the grains, it actually promotes mold growth. And so there is actually, if you check with the USDA, there is an acceptable amount of mold in our grains for us to have it be in our flour. An acceptable amount of mold. I mean, so not only are we eating the glyphosate, excuse me, but we're also eating all of this mold they're called mycotoxins, which again cross the blood-brain barrier, and they actually can get lodged in and take up residence in all your organs and cause your organs to start struggling and failing. So grain is like one of the worst things. The way that our current food system is doing it is absolutely horrendous what they're doing. And then of course they're spraying it on soy. All the GMO foods are also sprayed with glyphosate. That's why they're GMO'd, to tolerate being sprayed with large quantities of this pesticide. And so people, if you're eating anything that is not organic, you're getting, especially if it's GMO'd, and you can tell by looking at the little stickers on your fruits and vegetables. If it starts with a 9, it's organic. If it starts with a 4 or a 5, then it's conventionally grown, which means that it could be GMO'd and sprayed. So I think I'm not sure, but I'm thinking 5 means GMO'd and 4 means conventional. But they're both sprayed with all sorts of different pesticides that can cause all sorts of chronic conditions because they accumulate in the body. Just like if anybody's familiar with DDT, we banned it when we figured out that it was accumulating in people's bodies and causing harm. But they still do sell it worldwide to other places that haven't banned it. So now they're finding proof of DDT up in the Arctic and down in Antarctica because it is so proliferated out. And now they're finding the same thing has happened with glyphosate, is that it doesn't biodegrade, so it just accumulates in the environment. It's in our water, it's in our food, on our food. It's like everywhere, and people don't realize that that may be the cause of their problems. I know that some people do okay when they switch over to organic wheat products, so we're like organic sourdough bread. They sell it at Costco. Some people do better with that than others because, like for sourdough, if you're going to have to do bread, do sourdough because basically the fermentation process of the grain actually decreases the amount of gluten in the bread. So you're getting less gluten, you're not getting any toxic pesticides. And so if you're going to make a switch to try to wean yourself off of bread because you think you can't, going with sourdough bread, organic sourdough muffins or English muffins, whatever you feel is you have to have, is a great source of things to try to slowly get yourself off. But again, you can make bread out of almond flour and coconut flour and eliminate all the grain. So
Okay.
I have a great recipe for English muffins that I also use for hamburger buns and sandwich buns. So it's like, I'm not giving up anything. I still get all that stuff if I want it. So it's, available. So, and it's a really good recipe. So it's pretty simple. But
Sure.
anyway, and I'll send that to anybody who wants. If they contact me and said, I'd like to have your recipe, I'll send it to them. No problem.
Okay. Now, what are some first steps that people can take if they've been diagnosed with any, type condition and they're kind of looking for nutritional options or nutritional solutions to address these issues?
Well, of course, organic is the main thing. That'll decrease your toxic load and give your liver a chance to catch up and to hopefully be able to start processing. But as far as, I mean, there are foods that will help support the healing of your intestinal tract from leaky gut, from that's causing the chronic conditions. My favorite thing is actually bone broth collagen protein powder. I do a green smoothie or a chocolate smoothie every day, and I put that in there along with aloe vera juice, which is also very soothing and healing to the gut lining. There are other things that are helpful, like quercetin. Now, quercetin, I'm going to put a little plug in for that because it pulls radiation out of the body and wait for it, it decreases your chances or eliminates your chances of a cytokine storm. Now, that might sound familiar to some of your listeners. So, quercetin, Quercetin, quercetin. The recommended dosage on that for people who have those issues is 1,000 milligrams a day, according to many different doctors. I do 500 just as a preventative myself. But anyway, so those are the kinds of things you can do for leaky gut. Um, Bone broth is like a huge thing. And I don't buy liquid bone broth because you're paying for the water. I do the powdered stuff because I can make soups out of it. I can add it to smoothies. I can add it to my tea or coffee in the morning. There are huge ways of getting it into your system to help heal your leaky gut. Other things now, because of the detox thing with your liver, one, you need to really focus on getting all your vitamins and minerals. A good whole food vitamin would be helpful. A whole mineral would be helpful until you get your nutritional deficiencies met, so to speak, which will probably take about 90 days of that. And then the food will be enough if you continue to eat well. Um, I also recommend for my clients to look into milk thistle and dandelion. You can buy those, I believe, in tinctures that, again, you can add to your coffee or tea, um, or you can buy them in capsules that you can take during the day, during with your meals and such, that will help your liver recover so that it can function more optimally. Because your liver is like the most overworked organ in your body, and it does over 100 different things in your body. And if you're not supporting your liver, you're going to have problems, especially if you're not eating organic and you're asking it to process all those things. Your kidneys are the next thing to go with toxins, and there are good foods for those. Your kidneys love beets. Now there is a good one. So, and I like to go to Mother's Market every once in a while and get their liver detox because it's primarily one of the main ingredients is beetroot and ginger. It's really spicy, by the way. It's really good, but it's really spicy with all that ginger in it. But the ginger and the beets are great for your liver as well as for your kidneys, so they can actually improve. Watermelon, strangely enough, is one of the top foods for supporting your kidney health and helping your kidneys clear out and be able to function properly. So people having, that are they may not realize it on your blood work that the main thing you want to look at is called a GFR, which is a glomerular filtration rate. And the higher that number is, the better. So I know for myself, I dropped all the way down into the 40s, which was stage 4, which is why they said, oh, guess what? You have chronic kidney disease. And it's like, I look through my past 10 years worth of blood tests and I'm like, this has been progressing for 10 years. Why are you now bringing it to my attention? And so changing my diet, I got back up into the 70s, which is stage 2 chronic kidney disease, which is actually normal for my age group. But you want to be up in the 80s if you're young. So that says your kidneys are working awesomely. So again, it's a detox organ for you to get rid of all of that, all of your metabolic waste in the way of urine. You release some of your toxins, go out through your urine. It's important. So yeah, if you stop peeing, you die. That's pretty much it. So you need your kidneys. So definitely something you want to do. Did I miss anything?
Oh, I don't think so. But now, how are, in terms of your own personal journey with health and things of that nature, have you had to make adjustments along the way since you first eliminated your main health concerns? Have you had
Well,
to, as you go forward, do you need to make adjustments here and there?
well, I can say for myself that I feel better than I have in like 40 years. I have endless amounts of energy that sometimes I don't know what to do with. It's like, what do I got to do now? What do I got to burn this off? And it's just like, I'm sure that right now your audience is probably going, ooh, she's 60 and she has that kind of energy. Wow. But you know what? I've been like fatigued. I had chronic fatigue. I had chronic adrenal fatigue before they decided that wasn't a thing. It's just all part of chronic fatigue and it's all linked to toxic overload and such. But anyway, um, but yeah, having all this energy, I mean, I am having to find things to do to get this energy out and to be able to burn it because otherwise I can't sleep if I don't do enough during the day. Going out to dinner became a challenge at one point, but you know what? I feel so great that I have no desire whatsoever to cheat. I will never go back to gluten. I will never go back to sugar. I can go to birthday parties and such, and you know what? I will bring a plate of gluten-free, sugar-free, grain-free chocolate chip cookies.
Mhm.
And they love them, but at least I have something I can eat at the birthday party. So I'm not sitting there going, my mouth watering because I can't have cake and ice cream. I make myself my little chocolate chip cake, and I'll take it with me. Going out to dinner though is also another issue, and going to other people's houses. I try to like put nut bars into my purse when I go to people's houses because I don't know how their food's going to be. I usually take charcoal when I get home, which binds to any toxins that are in the food they may have fed me, so that it gets eliminated quickly so I don't absorb it. Charcoal is a great detox, by the way. Just regular old activated coconut charcoal, taken away from all food and all meds, will help clear toxins that are keep getting recirculated into your body. Easy, cheap, inexpensive way to start detoxing too. Um, but yeah, going out to dinner, I have to I usually, a lot of times I'll look up menus ahead of time to make sure that they have something I can eat. But most restaurants, many of them will serve breakfast 24/7. So you can always have eggs and have an omelet type thing. Um, Most of them have some kind of salad. And I'll ask them to customize it for me. Can you no croutons? Can you put extra green onions in it for me, or can I pay to have some chicken breast added to that or something? So that I can have something like that. Any type of meat and vegetables. They'll substitute out just about anything. I mean, El Pollo Loco actually has fit bowls that are actually have cauliflower rice in them. They now serve cauliflower rice as a side dish for keto people. And you can substitute out at any restaurant, it comes with a baked potato. Well, can I have double vegetables instead? At different places you can sub out different things. But I love like El Pollo Loco. If I have to go out somewhere, I'll choose them because they have the fit bowls that actually is a salad that has, their chicken and I'll tell them no cheese, so that I'm getting chicken and cauliflower rice and pico de gallo, and some beans and rice or beans. So I'll have to put beans on it too, just a scoopful of beans or black beans on it. And that way I can actually eat out at some fast food place if I need to. If I don't have any other option, I can go to a burger place and have them do what's called protein style, which means that they actually take your entire burger and they wrap it in big leaves of lettuce. But I don't have a bun. But again, most places have some kind of salad or some kind of, something like that as well as available. So that's the hardest adjustment, I think, is going out. I go to, my husband likes sushi, I have to be careful of the rice. Don't want to eat too much of that. So I'll order, again, some of your bowl places or Chinese places, you can order a bowl meal with no rice. So all it is just meat and vegetables in the bowl. So we go out for sushi, I just order a bowl with no rice, for a chicken or beef or whatever, even though I know it's not organic chicken or beef, and it's not organic vegetables. But again, I can take charcoal when I get home if I want to, but at least I can have a meal out with friends and stuff that way. So there are things, but it's been an adjustment. And, it's like, it's hard sometimes to do family gatherings, especially, if they want to try to accommodate you, they don't understand the diet. They don't understand, I mean, I had a birthday recently and birthday party, and they tried to cook for me and tried to do dessert things for me, and they brought cashew nut milk ice cream, but it has sugar in it, so I couldn't have it. So it was like, oh man, they tried, and I'm like, no, so delicious coconut milk ice cream, sugar free is the one that I can have. Or just coconut cream. You know what? If you buy a can of coconut milk or coconut cream and you put it in the fridge, and then you take it out and you use an immersion blender whipper or whatever, you can whip it up into anything, add some stevia drops to it, add some cocoa powder to it, and you have instant chocolate mousse. I mean, everything's doable. You can do that. You can make your own whipped topping, coconut milk whipped topping, and put it on anything you want. Put it on top of paleo pancakes. There's a good one. I like Birch Benders has a fabulous recipe or a fabulous product for paleo pancakes. And I put on pureed fruit and some whipped coconut cream, and it's great.
Fantastic. Now, as we wrap up, any final thoughts as to people who are moving in this direction to understand and eliminate these a variety of different conditions and things of that nature, just moving toward a nutritional option?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to have a goal. And it has to be a strong enough goal that you can actually say to yourself, I want this goal bad enough that I am willing to stick with this and not give in to my cravings and not give in to pressure, to actually make sure that you are staying on track with your nutritional goals, because you're worth it. Your health is worth it. Your life is worth it. You're playing with your grandkids and your kids is worth it. As soon as you set up the goal of, wow, I can reverse all my conditions and I can have all this huge energy and I can go back out and play tennis and go bowling with my friends and I can work in the yard for hours and I can play with my kids and my grandkids or great grandkids, whatever it is. If I can do all that by just changing my diet, that is so worth it. And that is my why. And I will never go back because I feel so fantastic that there's no way I'm going to go back. It's not worth it. I don't care. 5 minutes on the tongue for 40 years worth of damage? No, that's definitely not worth it for me. Not when I have alternatives. Not when if I need a fix for something, a sweet fix, I have solutions. I have things that I can do that will keep me out of trouble, that keep me from giving in. And so far it's been 6 years and I have not faltered once. Not faltered once away from this diet. 6 years.
Wow.
And I'm still going strong, feeling great. Never go back. I saved my own life. saved my own life at this point. So got to be worth it.
So, Jackie, how can people get in contact with you?
Okay, I'm going to try to hold up my card. Let's see if this works so people can freeze the video if they're watching a video here. Let's see how big I can get it. There you go. On the bottom is my website, my email address, where they can get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook at Real Health Solutions with Jackie. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on Google, Yelp. I'm on numerous websites that have practitioners on it. There's Health Pros, there's Wellness Universe. I'm everywhere and anywhere. They can just type in my name and they're going to get a whole page worth of stuff showing where I am. If they put in Jacquie Nelson Walburn, I'm everywhere. So Google, Yelp, I'm all there. Bing,
Okay.
I got websites for all that for people to contact me. So
Okay.
tons of stuff. And I do free email consultations, so they can just email me, answer a few questions, and I can send them in the right direction. But basically, I just told you what the right direction is. So anyway, they watch this, they listen to this, then they're going to have everything they need to get them started, and they may not even need me. I've had thousands of people email me saying that they saw one of my podcast interviews, and that was all the information they needed. I had one guy who just did my detox tea recipe and reversed 20 years of eczema in 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks. It was gone. I mean, all the creams, all the steroids, and all the drugs they had him take, he just did my detox tea for 3 weeks and it was gone. It healed and went away. And he was just like sending me thank yous and everything else, invited me over for lunch because he lived in my area. And we did lunch together and everything else. And he was so excited to show me all the things that he had gotten, all the grain-free stuff and all the, made me lunch, made a big salad and everything else for me. It was so cool.
Fantastic. Well, we will include all of those in the show notes so people can get in touch. And Jackie, it's been amazing. You're a wealth of knowledge and you're really focused on those whole health solutions, which is contagious. Your enthusiasm is fantastic. And I'm sure that people can get started and really focusing on the nutritional aspect of their health.
Absolutely. Food is medicine. That was Hippocrates over 2,000 years ago. Let food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. He knew it. And he's also the one who said all health starts in the gut, all disease starts in the gut. He knew. Where did we lose that? Oh man, it's just like we're so far behind. We're just catching up to 2,000 years ago. It's sad. But anyway, we'll get there.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you. Have a good day.